Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Divine Cupid podcast. If you're new, I'm your host, Indy Watson, and if you're not new, welcome back. So guys, welcome back to another episode. I'm so happy that you guys tuned back in. Recently, look, okay. So I post a lot on my podcast account, and if you guys don't know what that is, it's on TikTok. It's at the Divine Cupid. I have another one on Instagram, still at the Divine Cupid. And to me, I don't have posting anxiety, but I have posting anxiety. I feel like it's really hard to step out of your comfort zone and post something knowing that what you have to say and what you are doing, there's so much room for criticism and so much room for judgment. So I don't check I don't check the views. I don't check none of that. I post, I log out. I don't want to see none of that. And I did log in. I will check reply to people's comments. And a lot of people that I know have found my podcast, and to me that's exciting and scary at the same time. I like that, because I feel like a lot of people have known that I have a podcast. A lot of people will ask me do you still podcast? Da 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 da. And it's been not a fallen project, but I guess you could say a fallen project. And it's just very I don't know, exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time, knowing that people are seeing what I post and seeing what I'm talking about. And it's weird, because it's I don't know if I'm being judged and ridiculed, or if it's oh, good job, go her, but I think when you're doing passion projects, the more you live your life for other people, you won't ever be satisfied in yourself. The more you doubt your own work, thinking that other people are judging you, the more you will never be confident in the things that you are doing. So I don't know, I take it as a good thing. I feel even if you are hate listening to my podcast, I still feel good. That's still a win to me. I don't know, I don't know. At first it was something I was really, really, really second guessing myself about, but I don't know, I feel more comfortable, especially with the fact that I feel more comfortable about what I'm doing, and I don't feel that same 15-year-old girl that was I feel really, really, really I felt very inexperienced to talk about a lot of things on my podcast, and I felt very my voice did not matter. And I realized the more that I devalued myself and devalued my voice, I kind of I don't know, gave myself less credit than I deserved. I feel even if you feel less qualified to talk about something, that I don't think that exists. I don't think there is I'm not the right person to talk about this. I feel your experience is your experience, and your thoughts are your thoughts. And if you feel you have opinions and feelings to share about it, not saying that all the time that is correct and that is right, but I do think your voice is important, and the things you have to say matter. So I don't know, because I feel that way, and I push those values towards other people, their voice matters. I feel I shouldn't devalue my own voice in the process. Nevertheless, that little tangent, I wanted to talk to you guys about attachment styles. I feel I gotta get into lore for you guys. I gotta get y'all into my back of the day lore. And I feel like this is a bad trait that I've always had, and I feel it is a bad trait that I had to work through, and then I have brought it back into my life. But there are two different type of attachment styles. I know there are more, but a lot of them that are talked about recently are being an avoidant attachment style and being an anxious attachment style. Like that is the kind of person you are. When you are attached to people, or when you are dealing with people, you deal with them you're a very distant person. You don't when people get close to you, you get further away from them. You pull away when people get close to you. You don't really let people in. You don't really want anybody to break those walls that you have put up down. You never really let people get too close to you. And then that anxious avoidance styles, when people see you are pulling away and you do get very distant from them, they pull closer. They start compensating for what you lack. They start making up for what you're not doing. They start making excuses for the things that you're not doing. Not really seeing the situation and seeing people for what they are, but constantly making excuses for their behaviors, their actions, their words, things like that. In my life, I have been both of those things. And one of the biggest factors that I think tie in with this is blocking. So look, I am a blocker through and through. You're not serving me? Blocked. You're lagging on me? Blocked. You're upsetting me? Blocked. We get in an argument? Blocked. Anything? Blocked. Consider yourself blocked. Consider yourself blocked on all 3 accounts. Consider your friends blocked. Consider your cousins blocked. Consider your brother, sister, daddy, uncle, anybody blocked. I am a blocker through and through. And I have realized in my life that is so unhealthy. And me and my sister were actually talking about this today, and she said that I feel people in your life feel if they wrong you, they don't get an opportunity for second chances. And I think that's kind of like crazy because I know that that's not a false statement. When you block someone, I think that does give them the impression that it's like a one and done. Like it's like I do not want to return with you. I do not want to rebrand you back into my life. I do not want to refriend you. I don't want to redo anything with you. And I think for me, my defense mechanism was blocking because it's just like, I do not want to explain to you what you did wrong. I was not a very vulnerable person. Vulnerability and telling you like, hey, you hurt my feelings, it made me feel like you have too much power over me to tell you like, you made me cry, like you made me feel bad, you made me feel sad. Like I've always felt like that's just too much power to give a person. But that is such a like flawed mindset, especially going into the real world. I think it's so important for people to know what they did wrong, especially like me. I know like if someone were to block me that I cared about, that I was friends with, despite argument, conflict, whatever, I know if someone were to block me, I would feel very like hurt by the situation because I would have preferred to work through it rather than just being like shut off and shut down in the midst of it. I do kind of look at that version of myself because I know like I've always really been scared to let people know how I feel about literally anything. Like my most vulnerable moments, I have been very scared to let people know like you really hurt my feelings. I've really been like scared to just have my feelings brushed off. I am very used to people. I'm very used to going to people and being like, hey, like you made me feel this way, and that being they deflect and make the situation my fault and be like, oh well, you feel this way because you did this, so I treated you like that, and da da da. I've never really met too many people who do take accountability in the situation. I have friends that I have brought things up to and they've made it my fault that I feel certain ways, and I've had friends that bring things up to me and I'm like, you know what, that's my bad, like I will fix it, I will change it. And in that, I have not gotten the same in return. So it has made me very reluctant to be as open and honest and vulnerable with other people, which I know is not something that I can generalize everybody else. You know, like not everybody shares that same issue and that same flaw, but I feel like I have ran into this problem like so many times in my life that I have just like shut down. And I think a lot of it also ties into like just things that I have dealt with personally where I'm trying to like explain myself, and I feel like I always get like my feelings minimized, things pushed away, like situations just aren't as big of a deal when it happens to me, you know? And I'm just like, I don't feel like I want to deal with that. So my resort to a situation is I'm just going to block you. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to explain it to you. I don't want to tell you that you really hurt my feelings. I don't want to tell you that like I'm upset. I don't want to do any of that. So I'm just going to ignore you and I'm going to act like it's okay and it's fine. And if you apologize, it's fine. And it's fine. Like just leave me alone. It's okay. And that's really, really bad. Really, really bad for a multitude of reasons. Like I said, I don't think people can grow if they don't understand what it is that they did wrong. I think you're never going to have friendships that will ever see a resolution if you just keep putting walls up and walking away from people. I've learned a lot. I'm not going to lie. I've learned a lot in my life, and I still have brought these traits into current day situations because I feel like being both a avoidant attachment and like an anxious attachment, I have overcompensated for a lot of what people lack in my life, especially in like my relationships. I would never say as much in my friendships, but definitely with my relationships, when I felt like someone that I really liked, you know, everything, you know, when we're like, oh, like it was so good in the beginning. Like I cling onto that, like it being good in the beginning, and when they start drawing away, oh baby, just know I start picking up the pieces, and I'm like, I started like psychoanalyzing everything. Like this was such a big problem. It had been like, dang, like did I text back too fast? Did I make a joke that like they didn't like? Like did I say something wrong? Like is it what I wore? Like what did I do wrong? Like what is it that I need to fix about myself to make things better? It's never you. It's not you. It's them. And I know that's so cliche, but literally like when a person starts drawing away, let them draw away. Let them draw as far. When they walk out that door, hold the door open for them. Literally stop getting on your hands and knees and being like, stay, please stay. You lessen the value in yourself, and not even in yourself for yourself, but the way that they see you as weak, they see you as desperate, they see you as like lack of self-respect, low self-esteem, that they can just do whatever and you will stay. Like you will stay. And it's really sad to say, like that is how a lot of people think. That is how a lot of people, not even that person specifically, but people outside of the situation will see you. Like, okay, low self-esteem, lack of self-respect, lack of care for like themselves. They see somebody is treating them bad and all they do is make excuses for them. So that means I can now treat them bad because they don't have it in themselves to leave a person who's treating them bad. So that means I can treat them as bad as I want and they won't leave me either. Horrible. And I know this is like really hard to grow from, really hard to learn from. It's really hard to see that, you know, someone can treat you bad and still try to be good to them. But I think when people want to leave and when people are like, look, I'm going to get distant from you, let them get distant. Do not try to overcompensate for what they are no longer giving you, and do not make it your fault because it is not your fault. And in some ways, knowing this and being in this experience, it has made me a very avoidant person. You know, the whole thing that like we turn into the people that hurt us the most, that was me for a really long time. And sometimes I feel like that still is me. Like, very hard for me to form emotional connections with people. It is so hard. I feel like I never want to be that same person that was begging for someone to appreciate and respect me the way that I was appreciating and respecting them. I never want to be the person that is extremely insecure. Like, I've never in my life been so, you know, on that scale of comparison, comparing myself to every single girl, going through the following, like, dang, like, what is it that she has that I don't? Pause. Each single person that, you know, you come in contact with, that you meet, I feel like the whole what does she have that I don't mindset mentality is so detrimental, not only to how you see yourself, but to the other person as well. Because then you start looking for flaws on them. You start looking for things that you have that they don't. You start picking them apart. And it's like, dang, the poor girl don't even know you exist. And you're over here, boom, going in. And I just think like both situations make for, I don't know, like, it's a toxic playground all in all. I think being someone who is very big on blocking, I would do it. I have done it both being a very anxious person, being in that very anxious attachment style, and being in that very avoidant attachment style. And it's like, do you just fear the conversation, the communication? I've realized that blocking is a very immature thing. I know people are like, I'm at the point in my life where I'm just going to block everybody. I don't think everybody deserves an explanation as to why you no longer want to deal with them. I don't think everybody deserves an explanation as to why you cut them off or why you no longer want to be their friend. But knowing me and the person that I was and sometimes still am, that never mattered to me. Like, however long we've been friends, I don't care. However, like, no, I don't care. Like, I feel like blocking comes from a sense of hurt, and every time I've done it, it has been in a sense of hurt. When people say like, oh, they were so hurt that they blocked me, that is so true. They were so hurt that they blocked you. I have been very hurt that I felt like I don't want to see nothing you have to post. I don't want to look at your story. I don't care about your tweets, threads, nothing. Let it go. Let it be gone. And I feel like in some ways I have ruined some good things by that. And I feel like I'm not one to double down. I feel like the only thing you can do is recognize like, hey, like, maybe that part on my end wasn't the best, but because each of those actions came out of a sense of hurt, that's still a hurt that was never addressed. And I feel like there have been times where I would just do it because I had tried to express the hurt and it was just deflected, it was minimized, it was not cared about. I think like when you see things and people who just do not reciprocate your feelings and do not care about certain situations, and like they blatantly show you like, I'm just gonna constantly disrespect you, I don't care about anything you have to say, then I think it is okay to block people. I think it is okay to remove yourself from situations that aren't serving you, and I think it's okay to let people be where they are, exactly where they are at. But in my case and in my instance, I feel like dang, like maybe I could have been better at my communication. And I've done it's really weird because I never thought like years later I would like reflect about it. I always thought that I would be so like stuck in my ways about this, because I used to have friends tell me like, India, that's really bad. Like, that's really bad that you just block people and like you don't like communicate like that. And I'd be like, okay, well, I don't care. So thank you so much for that note, but I don't care, like, you know. And I do care. I feel like everybody says like I don't care, but deep down you do care. I just really feel like my fear has always been like my feelings just not mattering. And I have been shown that my feelings don't matter. I have really been shown my feelings don't matter. And I never really wanted to be in situations like that. I think a lot of that started from like a younger age to where I'm just like saying things and it's like, India, shut up. Okay. Like, oh, all right. So I don't know. And I know those are things that you have to work through. I know being an anxious attachment like is something you have to work through. Being an avoidant attachment is something you have to work through. Being a person who just is like nonverbal and lacks communication, something you got to work through. You know, I can't be 19 blocking every single person because I don't want to communicate. I can't be 20, you know, not saying how I feel. I can't be 21 walking away from every single situation because I feel like my feelings have been hurt. Nobody in this life is perfect, and I feel like that is something that I had always, you know, neglected. And it's really weird that it took a conversation with my younger sister to like realize this. And it's not weird because of who I was talking to. My sister knows me like the back of her hand, and she's a very smart individual. But as I literally like had that heart to heart with her because I'm not a very vulnerable person, and it's very hard for me to like talk about how I feel. But I've wondered like for a very long time, like, has it always been me? Like, was the problem me? And it's not that the problem was me, and it's not like I am a problem. It's just some of the things that I thought were okay and like good defense mechanisms were actually bad, and they were hurting me more than they were helping me. And that is a sense of accountability that I think is so immeasurable because you learn like, maybe I like kind of like kicked myself in the butt here. Like, I thought I was doing good for myself, but I didn't do as good for myself as I really thought I was doing. And I don't know, like, I feel like the older you get, you do learn communication is so important. And I do feel like there's only so much you can communicate. There's only so much you can tell people. And I think like I learned the depth of my actions when like I had a really like, it was, oh my gosh guys, this was so crazy to me. But I had a really close friend. I had a really close two friends, actually. Two of, like, my closest friends, we weren't really, like, as close anymore. Like, I would say, like, we just really, like, stopped talking. But, like, we were really close. And there was no, like, situation. Like, on my end, I never would have thought, like, there was something wrong. And I never would have thought that there was, like, an issue. And I remember, like, being blocked on everything one day. Like, and it was crazy because I was wondering. I was like, I had, like, a lot of people on my account at this time, so it's really, like, hard for me to tell. But I was on the phone with a friend, and she was like, oh, like, did you see, like, what Blankham, like, posted? Like, I think this is, like, it was, like, something. But I know it had to do with, like, a specific dress. Because we were just yapping, and we were, like, that was just, like, a really close friend that we'd always talk about, like, clothes and everything. She's like, oh, I think so-and-so has this dress. Like, I think she just posted it. Like, this is the one I want. Da-da-da-da. So I'm going to look at the account. And I was like, did they deactivate or something? And she was like, no. Like, I'm literally looking at it right now. I said, wait. Like, I felt so sad in that moment. But I had to tell my friend, like, hold on. Let me look at my other account. Because, baby, I have 4 Instagram accounts. So I was like, let me look at my other account. Boom, couldn't find it. Okay, looking on the third account, it popped up because no one knows that's my account. So third account that popped up, I was like, oh my gosh, I have been blocked on everything. Like, I have been blocked on everything, and that hurt me so. Like, that made me feel so sad. And I was not the kind of person to like text you and be like, is there a reason why I'm blocked on everything? I just took it as like a response, like you no longer want to deal with me, or I don't know, I must have done something wrong. I have no clue what I did wrong. But I'm going to take it as what it is, and I'm just going to, like, move on with my life. And I think that, like, really kind of, like, it really hurt my feelings. But I wasn't going to say, like, oh, like, that really hurt my feelings. I just was like, dang. Okay, next. Like, I don't know. I think the more you push past your own feelings, too, it definitely does more harm for you than it does good. I think you never have to ask people, like, hey, like, why'd you block me? Or, hey, like, what is in my mouth? What? I don't know. You never have to ask people for, like, an explanation. But I think, I sometimes I think people do deserve closure for certain things. So in the sense of, like, me being the person who was constantly blocking people, I had people ask me, like, why did you block me? And I can't remember if I've ever given them exact reasons, but never just being as honest as to why the reason was. You know, you always get people, like, surface level excuses. I never want to like read people and make them feel bad for how they made me feel, but I definitely wanted them to know like you made me feel bad. But it's just the way of articulating it so they don't feel bad in the process. I don't know. I'm always still trying to like be consciously considerate of other people. But I've learned, like I truly, truly, truly have like learned. Like, I don't know. I realized that is a more hurtful thing than it is a helpful thing. And I've learned that like being an avoidant person is a very like not detrimental, but being an avoidant person is a very bad trait because it's only going to make people feel like you like them less. It's only going to make people feel like you care less about them. It's only going to make people question themselves. Like, excuse me. And I think like these are all traits that, oh my goodness. Okay. These are all traits that obviously take some time to work through. You're never, because it took me 2 years. It took me 3 years to get to this mindset. So in these 3 years, I have been blocking people left and right. I recently, like my 2025, I unblocked every single person. I had 35 people blocked on one account, 35 blocked on another. I'm like, what? And it's weird when you're like, why are all of these people blocked? I got people blocked from 2016 that I don't even know why they're blocked. And it's just like, you're holding on to something and you're mad about something that you never even gave the person an opportunity to apologize for. Like, that's so unfair that you're upset about something and they don't even know why you're upset. Like, I had, like I said, I was blocked by, like, my closest friends. I don't even know what they were upset for. And I feel like if there was a conversation, I would have apologized for it 100 times over. And obviously, I'm not apologizing to you 100 times, but I would apologize for it 100 times over. Like, I would be like, dang, like, I'm so sorry that I made you feel that way, because friendship is so valuable. Relationships are so important. People feeling validated and cared for in your life is so necessary. And I've always, like, I will sometimes kind of ask my friends, like, do you think I like you? Because I do like my friends. I'm just a very, like, joking person. I don't know, like, just being all that emotional, sentimental stuff, that's not for me. Like, I love making a quick little joke, quick little laugh. Like, I don't know, my entire personality is just, like, laughter and, like, giggling and, like, everything. And, like, I don't know, I'm just like who I am, and I feel very unapologetic in who I am. I know a lot of people who have very negative perceptions of me, which kind of sucks, because I feel like if, like, I just literally told my sister, I was like, I feel like if the people who, like, don't like me now, like, met me, or, like, what was I saying to her? I was like, I feel like if the people whom I kind of, like, blocked out then, because I don't know, I feel like if we met now, like, the relationship would be so much more substantial. I feel like I've grown so much and I've matured so much, because I just think so much differently about situations. I feel like I handle things so much differently than I used to. But I was not able to navigate through my feelings. My feelings were a very scary place for me. Being sad was a very scary thing for me. Feeling sad was a very scary thing for me. I really, truly did not know ever how to navigate through my feelings. I'd always wake up with the heaviest heart. I'd always skip school because I always felt so sad. Like, I really did not know how to communicate how I felt without feeling dumb. I've always thought, like, communication was a dumb thing because you don't care and you're not going to care. My feelings don't matter. And those are things that I had always continuously told myself. And I really, 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 really wish that I told myself that it is okay that I feel the way I feel. And like, it's okay to tell people, like, and I don't want to say, like, that's how I grew up, because I don't think that was something that I grew up being, that was never something I grew up being told. It was just something I had grown accustomed to thinking, believing, feeling, like, just, like, things that I've always felt were, like, misunderstandings. I've always felt like, I don't know, I've been in situations where, like, I was never heard the way that, like, I was hearing other people, but I was also never a person who was communicating in a way that made you want to listen. And I think that's also an important thing, the way you're talking to people, the way you're responding to people, the way, like, like, if I felt like you're catching the slightest attitude, it'd be like, look, okay, I don't know who on God's green earth you think you're talking to, but it literally cannot be me. Like, I pray somebody find who she talking to, because it's not me. Like, I really pray for her. And it was just like, the way you come off matters, it's how you're saying it, not what you're saying, that matters. I don't know, I feel like I've learned, like, so much just about myself and about the way that I handle things, and, like, having people around me too I think like right now the biggest like people that I've had validating like my feelings are like some of my closest friends and my sister, just really like helping me feel more assured and like my thoughts, my feelings, and like navigating through like what is the right way to handle things, because sometimes you don't always have the answers and you don't always know what is best to do. But I think I've learned so much more like being a not defensive or deflective, but being a very avoidant and distant person is not an answer in a lot of situations. Because even in romantic aspects, when you are an avoidant attachment style, in friendships, it even makes people question like, what did I do wrong? Like what did I do wrong that makes you like this, you know? And I think in the society that we live in today, people are so used to being nonchalant and not caring that they're not going to go out of their way to ask you like, what is it that I did wrong? You know, a lot of people will see the signs and just like move on. And like, you know, I've reconnected with people and it's been like, oh, like, what was that about? Like, what happened there? Da, 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 da. You know, the conversation comes up like later. I just feel like a lot of people feel like once that door is shut, they have no desire to pry it open, or they kind of see things as what they are. They leave it alone. I don't know. I think like it's everything is a learning experience. And like I said, I feel like those two attachment styles are things that have to be navigated through and learned from. Like I said, it took me 3 years to get to the position that I'm in right now. And I still struggle with the whole like idea of just like, because it's not about forgiveness. It's just about the vulnerability. Forgiving people has never ever been an issue in my life. You know, I think sometimes it's hard to get over it. And I think sometimes it's hard to let it go, but not even let it go. Because I feel like if you can't let it go, you haven't truly forgave. But just to like stop thinking about it, stop dwelling about it, stop focusing on it. I feel like those are very hard things to do. But the forgiveness aspect in itself is not very hard for me. Like, it is easy for me to forgive. I think the harder part has always just been the vulnerability and the openness in the conversation of what went wrong and what happened. I don't know. I just feel so like I've always been so used to just like bringing things up, but it meant like that's the end of something, you know? Telling my partners like however I felt, boom, now we're not talking anymore. And I'm like, dang, like if I just shut up and didn't say like I don't like when you take forever to text me back, or if I just shut up and didn't tell you like I don't like when you flirt with other girls, then we'd still probably be together. You know, you always feel like you have to bite your hand and bite your boundaries and bite the things that you feel are issues to accommodate other people, so you're neglecting yourself. You know, like I've heard a lot of people be like, maybe if I just didn't say this or bring up this one thing on that one day, then we'd still be together. And I just feel like a person who cannot respect how you feel and how they're treating you and making you feel is not a person you would want to keep in your life and would want to continue things with in your life. And I think like because I've thought, oh, if I say something like that ends, if I tell like one of my friends like I don't like when they do this, then we'll stop being friends, or you know, I've always sat back on boundaries because I just feel like it either becomes too much to where I just can't deal with it at all and I have to just like go ghost on you completely, because I've sat and held my tongue for so long and not saying certain things, when it's like I think the older people get there, it's like understandable, like, oh hey, you're not cool with this, I will fix it. And that's not everybody, that's definitely like not everybody, but it's definitely something to think about, and it's definitely something that I have thought about. You know, the more open and the more vulnerable and the more truthful you are about things, and you know, articulate in a very appropriate and respectful way, I think the better your circumstances, your situations, your friendships, your relationships get. You know, it's all about maturity, it's all about perspective, and it's all about respect. I think people who respect you, love you, and care about you will fix things that you don't like or you disapprove of, or you know, it's not so much nitpicking their character, and it's not so much nitpicking the things about a specific person that you don't like. When things truly like go against your boundaries or go against things that, you know, you feel make you feel some type of way, like, hey, I don't like when you make jokes about like woo woo woo. If that's something that's like, okay, well, if you're gonna be my friend, you have to like withstand those jokes. No, I've had friends, like if I've had friends that told me like, India, like the jokes you make sometimes about me are kind of mean, I will not make those jokes about you anymore. It's not even that. It's like I have to walk on eggshells. It's you don't feel comfortable with that, I want to respect that. As your friend, I want you to feel comfortable talking to me. You know, you're always going to make mistakes in things. And I think the same way, like, you want people to give you grace, you need to give the same grace to other people. And I think I've been really hypocritical in that, because I would want people to give me like forgiveness and understanding, like I'm not perfect and I messed up and I'm sorry for that. But I feel like I don't give people the opportunity, or I hadn't given people the opportunity to also be like, I'm sorry, like I messed up, like da 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 da. And I don't know, I think when you're just very like in heat of the moment, it makes it very like complicated. And I do think like you know yourself better than anybody else. So if you know like you're not the kind of person that can have like long conversations immediately off bat, then definitely take some breaks. I have had friends that like will be in conflict and it'll be like, oh, like let's just talk in person, because the over text is very like quick to be misinterpreted, or like, and it's always like water under the bridge after the fact. And I think those are like good things. Even just things that I've witnessed within other people that are just very good like mechanisms, because I really do think like the relationships you form with people are so beautiful, and they're like something to really cherish and value and appreciate. I don't think God brings people in your life just for no reason. I definitely think you learn something from it. You're taught something from it. You learn something about yourself. You learn about other people. Not everybody is your friend. Not everybody has the, care and consideration for your feelings. And that's okay. You cannot force everybody to care about you. And you don't matter to everybody, unfortunately. I know that sounds so crazy, but the girl that you've been friends with since 7th grade probably never liked you after 8th grade. So, like, you just have to, like, kind of move on like with yourself, and it's really hard to like wrap your head around it, wrap your finger around it. But not everybody is obligated to really like respect you and like feel that kind of way about you. You cannot dictate what other people do and how other people feel or whatever, but you can navigate through your own traumas, struggles, attachment styles, mechanisms. It's like you're not at peace. You're just removing all your triggers away from you, and you are not addressing situations the way that you maturely need to. The older you get, you do need to stop making excuses for your behavior, and you do need to stop making it seem like everybody is out to get you. Like, you give no people no room for anything, baby. Like, they start getting distant, you make up for everything. They start getting too close, you push them away. Is it them that's the problem, or is it you right now that's the problem? Like, why do you not want people to be close to you? Why do you feel like you are undeserving of closeness, of sanctuary, of unity, of a bondage, of a relationship, of a friendship, of something that is not something you have to fight for and beg for? Why do you feel like you don't deserve that? And why do you feel like you being close to someone makes you weak? I don't know. You definitely have to. It's all about self-reflecting. Like I said, for the third time. Oh, that's 4 fingers. For the third time, it has taken me 3 years to get to this thought process and this perspective. And I'm very like blessed to finally get here. I feel like it's very nice, to know like what it is that I can definitely do better for my future relationships, my future friendships, my future anything, my future everything. And yeah, I really hope that this was something that, oh, my hair stuck on my cartilage. Oh, fudge. I really hope that this was something that was moving to you guys. This was the most like vulnerable I have been on a podcast episode. I've always said that I do want to be more vulnerable and more open. It's very hard. Like I said, vulnerability has always been a struggle of mine. I've always struggled with just telling people how I feel. It's very hard because I just feel like me telling you how I feel and everything leaves so much room for just like you to hit me exactly where it hurts. And I've just always been scared of that. I've always been scared of just feeling like I've always been scared of being told I don't matter, or being shown that I don't matter in the ways that people matter to me. And that's always been like something that I've always just wanted to avoid, that feeling of feeling less than, or being told like I don't care, like, girl, I don't care. Like, I feel like when people tell you they don't care, it's like really, really sucks. And I think a lot of that definitely, like, I really, really, really had experienced that in the worst ways, and like the most toxic like relationship of my life, like just bringing things up and feeling silenced, getting the silent treatment, like having your text just left unread, and like being undelivered, and like being told like I'm mad at you and not being told why, and just things like that have always just like triggered a lot in me, especially since that had already been like a struggle that I had dealt with for a really long time, and like that just worsened. And I think now I've definitely been able to navigate through it, journal through it, work through it, learn from it, grow from it. And the concept and the conversation of my sister telling me that being blocked low-key does feel like a one and done. If you block me, don't think of spinning back and trying to reconvene with me. And if that's how I think about blocking, I can only imagine the people. I can only imagine like the perspective and perception other people have of what it means to be blocked to them. And I do feel like more sympathetic towards that now. And I do feel more, I don't want to say sad, because sad is not the word. I don't feel sad. I feel more compassionate, and I feel more remorseful for the fact that I did it, you know? Don't want to say sad, because sad is just like a very blue and dull and loose term to use, but I do feel remorseful for it. I do feel like I never in my life wanted people to feel like I just threw like everything that mattered away. It just, it was just hard. And I'm a very circumstantial person. I can say that more now. Like with my blocking, I'm not gonna block you just for no reason. But back then, I had a reason, but I was just blocking you because it's like, I don't want to talk about this. Leave me alone. I've explained this. I hope I explained it thoroughly enough. But now, and I really think like, if you are blocked in my life, it is because you have done the most damage you possibly could do. And we can keep it. You can keep me on your block list. I'll keep you on my block list. Like, I don't want to reconvene. I think the people that I did have blocked, very minimal damage. I felt like the situation could have easily been repaired if I was just more transparent and open, and if I didn't fear that openness and vulnerability as much as I did, and just being very like okay to say how I felt. I feel like I could have changed a lot, and I feel like I could have done a lot, and I feel like a lot of situations in my life would have been a lot different, and that I do feel a little regretful for. And I wish in my life I had the opportunity to explain that, but I know the way life works, you never probably will have an opportunity to explain that, and that is okay, because all that matters is what you've learned from it and how you grow from it and how you go from it. People may not always know how you've experienced and experienced life and how you've learned from certain situations, but the people that come into your life now will know. And I feel like it should be enough assurance in yourself for you to know, like, I'm no longer that person that I once was. I no longer share the same values. I no longer share the same, like, desires. I no longer am the same person. Like, I have grown so much. And to discredit yourself for the things that you feel other people still hold perceptions of you, negative perceptions of you, you can know, like, that is a very old version of yourself that no longer exists, and that is a version, and the version of yourself that you are now, people have not came in contact with. And I don't know, life is beautiful, change is beautiful. It's very hard. It's very, very, very hard. And I feel like this subject has been something that's just like so heavy on my mind, because it's just been something so like, something that I've thought about for a really long time. Because like I said, especially like trying to get back into relationships, especially like trying to branch out and like meet new people and everything, like dating has been really hard for me, like seriously, like taking people serious, and like just like having feelings in general has been very hard. And like I feel like I've been very avoidant, and just like that, I don't feel like I need to teach you anything, but I do feel like communication is just important. And it's just made me really like look at myself, and not even on a scale of dating, but just like friendships, relationships, anything. Like, it all goes hand to hand, and it all, kind of ties back into one thing. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this podcast episode, and I really hope you guys enjoyed. I actually really hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next week. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel at The Divine Cupid. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at The Divine Cupid. Basically, all my handles are at The Divine Cupid, okay? TikTok, Instagram, YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and follow me. Go ahead and, stay tuned to all my content and everything. All the podcast reminders will be posted on there when each podcast episode comes out. Podcast clips on the TikTok. Everything under the sun. Share it with your friends. If you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, be sure you follow and add my podcast. Please feel free to leave a review. I love you guys so much, and I cannot wait for you guys to see what else I have, like what other content that I have coming through. And yeah, I love you guys so much. I will see you guys next episode. Bye.